First, we're going to talk about how to do calculator stuff on Desmos. Desmos is easy. You just type in the function, and all you have to do is click things, and it gives you exactly what you want. So you click for the zeros, you click the mins, you click the maxes, and it gives you actual legit points rounded to 3 decimal places. And in order for domain restrictions, you just have to put curly brackets. So for example, in this case, -3 not inclusive to 2 inclusive. And it goes a little bit off the screen. It's pretty easy to resize things. You just click the plus or minus on the side, and you click endpoints, and it even tells you when things are undefined. So it gives you holes in the graph. These are all things that we may remember from Algebra 2. Now, just based on looking at the graph that we had, this problem is the domain, the range, local mins, maxes are shown. Domain and range are intervals, local mins, local maxes are coordinate points. And then there was no global min or global max in this problem. And then intervals increasing and decreasing are shown as well. Those are, once again, intervals. But if I changed it so that there was a restricted domain, there are going to be some changes in red here. The domain changes from -3 to 2. The range goes from -2.813 up to 30. And then there were some changes because we also had global maxes now because it actually did reach a lowest or a highest point. And then there's a slight change in the increasing intervals because there's endpoints that show up. So now let's look at it from the TI. On the TI, it's a lot more complicated. So you type it all in, and then you have to get a good window. So as you're working to get a good window, you have to kind of look at it, and I made a mistake. So I'm going to try again, and well, I made another mistake. So now I changed the Ymax to be 10, and this function actually shows up all on my screen. So that's good, or at least all the maxes and mins are showing up on my screen. So now in order to find a 0 or an intercept, I click second trace, which is my calculation function. Then I click 0, or I press the number 2 in order to get that. Now, in order to bound these things, I have to bound all of my zeros by something to the left of the 0 and something to the right of the 0. So I can either type the numbers in, as is shown on the screen right now, or what I can do is I can actually move the cursor. So you just have to bound it by either typing in numbers or moving the cursor. And then you click enter one more time, and then it gives you the 0. So I'm going to show you how to get all of the zeros. And on Desmos, it was just clicking 5 buttons. On the TI calculator, it obviously takes a lot longer. And so I'm not going to go and fast forward to get the other 3. So you click second trace, and then bound it, and second trace 0, bound it, find all the answers. So it's giving me all 5 zeros, and we would write these as coordinate pairs, the coordinate points, so an X and a Y. Now what happens if I don't bound it correctly? So if I don't actually bound a 0 when it asks for a 0, I'm going to get an error. So you have to make sure that your bounds include the 0. If you include 2 zeros, you're not going to get both. You only get 1. So you have to make sure that you bound it correctly. Find a local max, second trace calc, and then go to maximum. So this is something you did in Algebra 2 with parabolas and stuff. So we're just going to do it again to remind ourselves. You have to make sure that you bound it. What happens if you don't bound it correctly? Well, notice I didn't actually bound something that gave me all the way up to a maximum. If that happens, I'm going to get an error. So you have to make sure you box it in with the bounds. If you don't, you're not going to get the answer. So we go to second trace max, bound it on the left, and here I'm demonstrating how to use the cursor. So you just hit the left and then hit the right arrows in order to do that, and then hit enter whenever you get to where you want to go. So those are good options. You can either type in the number or hit the arrows. And now I'm going to speed up a little bit and show you how to get the second maximum. Notice it gives you the X and Y values of the coordinate. So it works out pretty nice. And these are the same answers as you saw earlier on. So to find a local min, it's the exact same process, except you hit minimum instead of maximum. So notice that I had a really wide boundary. As long as there's only one minimum in there, then it's cool. So now you do the exact same thing one more time, second trace, and then you can hit the number 3 for minimum. And then I got that last minimum. Now, how do I restrict the domain? You hit second, math, and then you get test stuff. So in order to do this, you have to hit the division sign first, and then you have to put all of your restrictions in parentheses. So division sign, parentheses, and then x greater than -3 in this problem, and x less than or equal to 2. Now, in order to get the and, you hit second, math, that gives you your test stuff, second math, and then you get, you hit the right arrow to go over to find and or.